In the name of the cosmos. Hi, Mars. Yes, sir. Everything's all lined up as you directed. We're ready for action. Mars comes alive with intent on August 16th as he moves into his natural sign of Aries, where he's empowered fully with all the resources he needs to initiate new directions and make swift changes, where he'll be looking at the signs of Cancer, Libra, and Scorpio throughout his stay through October 4th. Welcome to In the Name of the Cosmos. My name is Sari Prakash. I'm a Vedic astrologer, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the meaning of Mars's transit into his own sign, who he will energize, who will energize him, what we can expect from a collective and global level, and then at the end of the video we'll look sign by sign to see what will get awakened for you so you can better utilize the powerful energies that Mars is bringing, harness what skills he'll be assetting and depositing into those houses for you, and how we can better prepare ourselves for the swift changes to come. Mars has been in the sign of Pisces since the third week of June, and he's going to do a dance between the sign of Pisces and Aries through February of 2021. And this is a very interesting piece of cosmology for us to study and to analyze, as Mars's transit through here is going to reveal a lot of what we can expect through early spring of 2021. You know, what is Pisces? So Pisces is this place where we go to transcend, where we go to merge, where we escape, where we retreat, right? What is Mars? Mars is a planet of action. He's a planet of direction. He's a soldier, right? Pisces has no feet, so the soldier has no traction, no movement, no ability to move. It's a fiery planet. You put it in a pool of water, it just loses its strength, right? And Mars does well for those in Pisces who have a very strong spiritual practice. And this really means a real practice. It doesn't mean talking about it, desiring a practice, being inspired about a practice. But if you have a very strong, committed daily practice that you're cultivating, then Mars's transit through the sign of Pisces does quite well. But most people don't have a very strong spiritual practice. They talk about it, they post about it, they boast about it, but they don't really have a strong practice. So here Mars doesn't do really well for most people. And throughout his stay, he had an aspect from Saturn. So Saturn was also pushing him down. So Mars here, we saw no real significant shifts and changes, but it brought about a bit of a pause on the same front. So it gave like the global community a bit of a pause in all of this fire that was really going in June. Now, as he moves into Aries, he becomes fully awake, he becomes fully alert, and he's energized. So upon here, he's getting active also from Jupiter's fifth aspect from the sign of Sagittarius. And the very next day of his entry into Aries, the sun goes into his seat of authority, into the sign of Leo, where all of the fire signs become fully awake and active through the mid of September. And we can think about this as like a stovetop. So look in your chart where these three burners are on, and look at what you're cooking in those pots, right? So because we think about houses and signs and it becomes very abstract. So if we just practically look at, okay, Jupiter's on this burner, Mars is on this burner, and Leo is on this burner. What have I got cooking in those pots, right? This is something to think about, because these are going to become very active houses for you where you have a lot of resource to make significant inroads, to make real meaningful steps forward for the next month. So it's very important you look at in your birth grid what is getting awakened for you. So with all of the fire signs being fully awakened, with this purity of energy and vitality and force. We also want to take a look at that Mars and Saturn are also activating all of the cardinal signs. So the cardinal signs being Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. This brings an ability to really shake things up in dramatic ways. So really pay attention to, on the burner of your stove, what houses and the classrooms are getting awakened for you to really harness the opportunities that are arising for you there, right? And really use it for momentum, right? So this we have a really great chance through October 4th. Now, Mars's entry into the sign of Aries will only see him reach 4 degrees before he stations and then starts his retrograde cycle on September 9th, slowly tracking back into the sign of Pisces. So what this indicates is a period of time where we'll be in this emergence and then retreat, right? So it will be this cycle of time of emergence and retreat, and really understanding what it is that we're really willing to fight for. This will become very clear for us during his transit, especially during his retrograde, but I'll make a separate video on that, detailing it out. So here it's about this time of action and initiation. Additionally, when Mars is in the sign of Aries, he will operate under a lunar house under a nakshatra called Ashvini. Now, Ashvini nakshatra is a space that's ruled by a Ketu nakshatra, right? So Ketu and Mars have very similar energies. They're both fiery, they're both willful, and they're both military, right? So it's this place that's known as the physicians to the gods, but this does not necessarily mean healers. Right? So it's about the medicine coming from a place of authority. So here we can also see that because Mars is a planet that's an expert surgeon, so you see people who are really great surgeons, they have a lot of Mars dominance here because Mars is very skilled with cutting and taking things out, the removal of things. He's an expert with needles. So this combination, what it says to me, is a period of time where we can see about the vaccines and the testing of vaccines starting to roll out, and then the rulership of our individual nations and globally start to enforce some rules about what it means for us to kind of come together collectively, and what measures that they're going to enforce and what they're going to implement for us to kind of come back together with regards to a vaccine. So this is what this Mars operating under Ashvini is really saying. So it's a period of us between Pisces and Aries of retreat and emergence, and then this period of really testing and discovering and really bringing in an enforcement and a ruling about who needs to take the vaccines and what it means perhaps to travel across nations or to move into jobs where we're interacting with large groups of people. This, I think, will also come out. So what this transit between February of 2021, it suggests a period of where we're going through a birth, a death, and a rebirth, right? So it's this birth of a child as it comes into Aries, and then it's a death as it goes back into Pisces, and then a rebirth again as it comes into the sign of Aries. And what I take this to mean is that we'll see it'll be a point of us, coming out and retreating again. So we can see through on a global level that we'll see a period of where we're coming out and going back, pushed back actually by the forces of our rulers, dictating to us, because Mars is also a planet of military. Leo and the sun is really government and our rulership, and Jupiter is our law and it's also rulership. So we can see that through his transit here through October, we'll see a lot of shift and dramatic changes into the rules of how we are interrelating, how we're coming out, what new restrictions will be placed upon us. So this we will also see on a global level, where we'll be pushed into more restrictive things and our resistance to it. So we'll, in Aries, as he's in Aries, we'll really fight against this. And then we're pushed into this Pisces zone of like, okay, we're having to retreat again. We're being pushed into retreat again. And then how we're feeling frustrated with it. So from mid-August through October 4th, we'll see a lot of bold movement from our leadership and from our government, making swift changes and swift directions of how we're navigating together. But this is not something to have a lot of fear of, because there's a lot of light coming to us. I've been studying the transit through the end of next year, and there's a lot of light that's coming to us. So don't give up. Don't give up, right? There's a lot of greatness that's coming to us. This is not just for no reason. We have to know this. And we have to know that our light and our activation of our light on an individual basis is really needed. So I do encourage you to really work on your practice, because this time of Mars going between this birth of Aries and then this death and transcendence through Pisces, this is something where you really want to pay attention in your grid, in your birth chart, what houses and what planets may be there. This is significant changes for us, right? This is a time period that's not really a mistake. Even this crazy year and this very tumultuous year and this like really grinding of fear, right? This is not a mistake. There's a lot of divinity in this year that's indisguised through this darkness. You need to tap into the light and the power and the ignition of you, right? This God force within you, right? And really start to live it and not just talk about it, right? To really just live it, right? Because through that we make significant change. When we change ourselves, we allow other people capacity to change. Don't pay attention to what other people are doing. Work on yourself right now. It's really through this time, through the 4th of October, to really focus on what you as an individual want to do. Don't be distracted. Work on what you want to do. You know, the power of Mars, when positively channeled, can really reap a lot of great rewards for us individually and collectively. So even though it's a time of uncertainty and there's a lot of chaos in the world, you still are empowered, you're still sovereign, you still have self-authority. So really use the energy of Mars very wisely right now, because when he goes back into Pisces in October, it will start to get a little undirected again. And at this time, he won't be so useful to you. So really take this moment to really push forward on ideas you have, projects that you want to do. Don't think the world is collapsing and that there's no chance for you to make something that's significant, something that's meaningful, something that's fruitful, because that's just all bogus. You know, really, we're in a time where we're being transformed collectively, right? So we are not being led in a way that's by mistake. We're actually asked to make this leap. We're being led to make this leap. Don't be afraid. Stand in your authority. Stand up nice and tall. Connect with your breath and say, thank you, God. Please give me more. Because we will not be in darkness for long. There's a significant amount of light that's coming our way. We just have a couple more months of real challenges, and then we're really coming out so amazingly strong. Now let's take a look sign by sign to see where it's going to open up energy spots for you, where you can see on your stovetop what's cooking and how you can better utilize its energy. So for Aries, this is a great transit for you because you have your ruler in your own sign very strong. You know, it's getting juice from Jupiter, who's transiting in your 9th house, and then the sun will arrive in your 5th house of like what you love and what you're inspired by. This is a great transit for you. You'll feel positive, you'll feel directed, you'll feel confident, confident. You may want to make changes with how you're appearing to the world, how you're expressing yourself into the world, you know? And in 2020 being so incredibly crazy, everybody has a chance to reinvent themselves. But for you, you really feel this chance of like, okay, now I'm taking my step and I'm going to put myself forward in a new way. For Taurus. So for Taurus, this is happening for you in your 12th house. This is not so great, but what is good about it for you is that it's about this building of something behind the scenes, about creating something that will come into fruition in 2021. So this is actually very good for this. Otherwise, you want to really make sure that you're not cheating anything, that you're not like breaking any laws, like trying to trick something, you know. It's a place of where you want to make sure that you're taking care and not making a whole lot of errors, right? So don't escape what you are needing to be responsible for. Yes, this is something that's really important right now. Don't make mistakes. Don't take shortcuts. Just keep planning, keep pressing forward. It will end up being a wiser decision for you in 2021 because you'll start to see it manifest in this way as Aries, as then Mars moves into your first house. So for Gemini, this is in your 11th house of social groups, of organizations, and Mars is looking to your 2nd and your 5th and your 6th. So here, this is good for coming together with groups. It's really good for creating new alliances, maybe kind of forming like little business ideas with other people. It's good for this. Your ruler, Mercury, is traveling with the sun and he's moving into Leo on the 17th and he's going to be combust, so you can feel a little bit agitated. So watch your speech. Don't lash out, you know. You may feel like you pick fights, particularly with your partners. So do take care of this. For Cancer. So for Cancer, this is happening in your 10th house of career. And Mars is looking to your first house. So here Mars is really looking to open up your horizons, to make new inroads of where you can really express yourself, like through your career, through what you're interested in through your career. Mars is also going to make a little bit of pressure on your home front right here. So he's going to want to help you make corrections if there's issues within your household or your household environment. So Mars will bring a lot of attention to this for you, Cancer. And he's going to want to make you complete tasks. So whatever it is that you have that's not yet finished, that's kind of hanging out and that you haven't really completed, Mars is really going to push you and say, what the hell, get to it, you know. And you've got Saturn looking at you too, so you're going to have this real pressure in this time to really complete a task that's been just hanging and not really been fulfilled. Leo. So for Leo, this is really great because Mars is transiting for you in a Dharma house, right? And all of your Dharma houses, in fact, are activated right now. So this is really looking at finding your sense of source, something, the sense of what you really are connected, what you really love to do, about broadcasting and about teaching and publishing. So it's really like for those who are in creative fields or in marketing fields, this is also really good in your career zone because it will really open up these avenues of creating new ways to make business through your marketing. It's also with Jupiter aspecting your first house. He's really also too really wanting you to really find opportunities. He's making new inroads of opportunity for you. So this is actually quite nice for those with the Leo ascendant and the sun moving into your first house. You'll just feel really juiced up. So it's a great transit. You may feel lonely with missing friends or missing connection because you really like to be connected. But here, you know, you're going to feel somehow this stability coming from within. So it's actually quite a beautiful transit for you, Leo. So for Virgo, you, this is happening in your 8th house and your ruler will soon be combust, right? So thankfully for you, your ruling planet is only going to be with the sun in Leo for 2 weeks. It's a very fast transit for him, and then he'll come home into your first sign. So with this Mars transit, it's really going to be about looking at creating a passion for you with how you can make alternate revenue streams, alternate ways of making money, finding new avenues to bridge this area for you. This is really going to be the structure that Mars is going to awaken for you as he's transiting into the sign of Aries. So for Libra, so this is happening in your 7th house, and he's looking to your 10th house, and you've got Jupiter in your 3rd house. So for you, there will be repairs in your relationship. So in the last month, you've had a lot of challenges with your relationships and your interaction with those you are close to, either if you're in a relationship with them or you're living with people, like you'll see a lot of repairs in your interrelationship, and you'll start to feel less pressure, because really Libra's had a lot of pressure in July and the early part of August. So you'll see it start to back off. You'll feel more inspired. You'll feel more rejuvenative, but it's still important for you to exercise. As I mentioned in last month's forecast to you, you really need to really get your exercise together to kind of help balance out your mind, because you can be a little neurotic. For Scorpio, so Mars is transiting your 6th house. This is super great because we want hard planets in our difficult houses, and the 6th house is a difficult house. So here, Mars is so powerful. He's home, your ruling planet. It's really good for you when you have competitors and challenges at work. Mars will help to really power through these areas. Or if you're looking for work, Mars will really help you find a direction in gaining work and gaining gainful employment. It's also a place where your health can also start to kind of get revibrated, like more energized. So you'll get a lot from this as he transits. You need to watch out what you're conveying to other people, though. This is important because you can still be in this attitude as you were in July of talking down to people, thinking you have all the ideas. So Mars being strong in your 6th house, just make sure that you're not preaching too much and not like really coming too forceful in with your ideas. Just know you have the power without needing to demonstrate it so much. Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is in your 5th house. Things of love, entertainment, creativity, children, creating things that we love. So for you, it's not the best. Even though your ruling planet is in your 1st house and you feel inspired, you start to see a lot of tension in your relationships with people. So you need to be careful not to nag. You need to be really careful not to nag and to be too harsh, right? So Sagittarians can be a little bit harsh in their communication, right? So don't pick arguments, because it will burn and destroy your relationships, and you'll start to see the fallout through the end of the year if you continue to do this. So just watch out for this. I think that here with Mars in your 5th house, you'll have a lot of pressure about legacy, about what you're creating. But when Mars moves back into Pisces, you'll start to feel better, because Sagittarian people with the Jupiter-ruled sign of Pisces, you understand its nature. So for you, Mars's transit when it goes back into Pisces is not so hard. But when he's in Aries, it's a bit of a problem for you. For Capricorn. So for Capricorn, for you, this is transiting into your 4th house. So your 4th house of things that nourish you, your home environment, your property, and your vehicles. And for you here, you can feel that you're going to get support from people when you actually won't. That's what's happening for you, Capricorn. And Capricorn, you already have a challenge because your ruling planet is in your 1st sign, so it's really pushing you to excel. And now you may feel like you need support to do something, and you're going to call out and ask for it, or you're going to expect it, and it just won't come through, and you're going to have to just deal with it. It's actually a very tough transit for you. I'm sorry to say, Capricorn, this is not the best one for you. So for Aquarius, this is occurring in your 3rd house, your 3rd house of courage, your 3rd house of communication, your 3rd house of learning, right? Your 3rd house of siblings, a 3rd house is great transit with Mars there, because it's really bringing in a highlight of collaborating with others, learning how to collaborate with others, actually being a leader in the collaboration of other people. It's going to bring a lot of creativity in your collaborations with other people. So it's a way for you to look for opportunities with work, with maybe starting a business or doing sideline things. It's going to initiate a lot of success in this area. Mars does really well for you here. For Pisces. So Pisces, this is happening in your 2nd house. So your 2nd house of earned income, what you speak, your speech, what you take in. So here you need to watch how you're communicating with others, right? So you can be a little bit intolerant and fed up, a little bit like unclear with your priorities, right? So Mars is really going to want you to shape up and get clear about what your priorities are, right? This is really important for you right now. Mars in your second house is not so great, but it's not the worst either. It's just going to bring attention to what your value is, what your resource is, how you're speaking to other people. This is going to be really significant in its transit into your second house. I thank you very much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, and please comment below and let me know what you'd like to learn, what you'd like to hear about. I would really appreciate it. May you be blessed with the transit of Mars through the sign of Aries. May he bring you vitality. May he bring you health. May he bring you prosperity. May he bring you courage. May he bring you connection to the divine. Satanam.